I think it's a bit of a mess, to be honest. There are, if you look at the whole policy, there is stuff on international recruitment, getting people more to work in Finland, getting people to study in Finland. That's about 3 pages. Then there's about keeping Finland secure and an immigration policy, and that's about 10 pages. And these are partly contradictory. And I think the main problem I have with the policy is that it doesn't look people as a whole. In a way, we say that engineers from India are welcome to work in Finland, they already work here, but the grandmother from the same family cannot visit as a tourist because she doesn't get a tourist visa. Or so there are good things in the policy, but there's also things that really don't work in practice. But as a whole, it doesn't look people as a whole with families, with social connections, and therefore, in order to make it work, adjustments really need to be made. And if I may add, I don't think it's possible to copy one to one from any country. In a way, each country has their own history. Finland is a small country, it's quite a cohesive country. It has a short history of immigration, it has a long history of emigration. Finns have always, or for centuries, gone abroad to look for greener pastures. So just copying one thing or another thing from another country doesn't necessarily work. You can, of course, benchmark, but you need to make it work in the setting that you actually have. This is 200 pages for 4 years. So it's a bullet point level strategy. If you think about planning phases, it's kind of the first bullet point draft. It needs to go through the ministries. So the first part is that each of the ministries who is involved in this case, immigration, in other fields, other ministries, education, health, whatever, there the civil servants need to put this into law proposals. It also needs to be reflected in the budget. The law proposal will be debated by or will be debated by the civil society. So basically the government will seek opinions from different organizations and citizens groups. Then that government proposal, which is kind of the next step, goes to parliament, and the parliament discusses it again, looks at different angles. But but the fact of the matter is that the coalition party has a majority in parliament. So if the government really wants to push something through, it will get through in government, even if the opposition doesn't support it. But it does go through this fairly rigorous preparation stage where normally exactly, hopefully, the discrepancies between different parts will be ironed out, hopefully. But to be sure, immigration policy will get tighter. That's what the government has said. Not every detail is ironed out, but that's what the government has said, that there is a wish to tighten it. And when thinking about timelines, when could the laws at the earliest coming to force, they need to be prepared first and approved in parliament. We're talking minimum 1 year, most likely 2 years, or even longer. And if I may continue, I think all of the proposals, the proposal that the refugee quota would be 500 and not 1,000 as it has been before, that's probably going to pass. I mean, let's face it, 1,000 is very little as well. So, but then if the refugee handling, so how to handle applications, if that would be made more efficient, that would actually benefit everyone. But there are also statements that the process, if you are seeking asylum, that some of the legal safeguards would be taken away. So that doesn't help the process either. So again, it's contradictory. My point has or is that immigrants need to vote. Most people have, and you need to really vote. Parties listen to people who vote. Parties are not charitable organizations; they are representatives of people. And of course, for the parliamentary elections and for the presidential elections, one needs to be a citizen. But for the municipal elections, which come in 2025, it's enough that as a non-European, you have been here 2 years anywhere in Finland, and as a European citizens, it's you have voting rights after 2 months. So, and my dream would be that the next elections will be presidential elections. There's many candidates, they are different from each other. Now, the president doesn't really affect immigration policy, I grant you that. But he or she is a picture of Finland to the outside. And I was looking at the statistics that in the last presidential elections, about 2% of the people of the electorate of the citizens had something else than Finnish or Swedish as a mother tongue. So it's not a big proportion, but it will be bigger this year, or actually in January 24. And Finns with the Finnish language, 70% voted. So it's the highest number of voters in any elections. And for example, people with Thai Thai language, 44%, 50%, Kurdish was 30%, Vietnamese was 20%. So these are lower numbers. What if all immigrant background citizens would actually vote? What if the share of voting would actually increase? That would actually show that we care, that immigrants care and want to participate, and that would send a big signal. The person of the president doesn't change immigration policy, but this is the first time you can show as an immigrant citizen that you care and you vote. Read papers, get active in your city. On the municipal level, the threshold of getting active is very low. So most cities, I know at least Vaasa and I think Helsinki, Turku, Espoo, all of these have councils for immigrant matters. So you can go there, you can become a member of that council, or you can just talk to people in your municipalities. I was in a seminar where the person in Espoo, second biggest city in Finland, responsible for immigration matters, and he said that for them it's an absolute must that they must do a good immigration policy, regardless of what the government does. Every third child in Espoo city schools has a mother tongue which is not Finnish or Swedish. So in order for the cities to work, they need to do good immigration work. So a lot can be done on your local level or on your city part level, so to speak. The same in Vaasa, we have a few programs directed to immigrants and their better immigration. But then also stand as a candidate. Standing as a candidate in the municipal election is fairly easy. So have a look at the parties. There are 6, 7 to choose from, and send them a message, the one that you like, that, hey, when do you have your next meeting? So I would encourage people to just look around and get involved. And I know that people don't have huge amounts of time. We have work, we have children, we have school, things like that. But even a small participation gives you more information and makes your voice heard. Now, parties need to do better as well, and I'm happy to hear that at least one of the candidates has reached out to your media, Obi. But so parties do need to do more as well, but also the people themselves. So it's a two-way street. Finland is a racist country. That's just a fact. There are deep inequalities in the system, and Finland is not alone in this case. So, in a way, saying that we have zero tolerance for racism, it's a bit simplification. So, I do think that many of the laws are basically they promote equality on the surface, but the reality treats people differently. So, and this has been the case also in the previous government. The government policy has clearly two parts. One is this 10 pages on shutting down borders and so forth, and the other part is 2 pages on getting students to Finland. And these don't work together. They have also been prepared in 2 different tables. And I was reading the policy, and there is one sentence on the vision of government, and by 2031 the aim is that Finland is the world's most interesting country to invest and create new. Now, like, hallelujah, this is not possible without the contribution of a vibrant immigrant community. I give you a second amount. The policy also, or the government policy also says that, so the first one was from page 96, and this one is from page 60. Uh, in 4 years, we should have 100,000 more people in the workforce. So basically, the number of people should be 100,000 more compared to now. And if you look at back, and this I also heard from this ESPO director for immigration, when you look at the statistics 20 years back, so during the last 20 years, the people with Finnish or Swedish as a mother tongue in the workforce, the number of those people has decreased by 15,000. The number of people in the workforce has increased by 149,000, all of which have something else than Finnish or Swedish as a mother tongue. So the increase, we already have a labor shortage. So and to some extent, I'm sure that the worst of the limitations will not happen. For example, this 3-month rule that if you are here to work and you don't have work in 3 months, you're kicked out, and your employer would have to inform Migri about it, which is the tightening. This has been opposed by every CEO of every company in Finland, or the major companies. So there will be adjustments, but I don't know. It's not a good program all in all. It has good elements, but it is uh, it doesn't see people as people, and I think that's wrong. And I think it's wrong for the people, but it's also wrong for the country. And it is in this respect racist, because these people are the ones in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, in America, so outside Europe. Learn Finnish or Swedish. That part is really, in a way, if you plan to hear, learn Finnish or Swedish. It's not that difficult, and then go vote. If you are curious about a particular party, and you want to get engaged more than just reading their policy, right now the presidential campaigns are looking for volunteers. Go and make coffee. Go and pour coffee. That's an easy way of low threshold. You can snoop around a little bit how they are. Are they, do they represent values that you share? They would be happy to receive volunteers, and there are many candidates to choose from. Thank you. Bye bye.